Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Season 7 of the FRS. We are here on the back half of the season, Division 2, Round 9. We head to the Hungaroring in Hungary, this go-kart track of a circuit. Here it is, 4.3 kilometers around, 14 corners, just 2 DRS zones served by 1 detection point down the pit straight and between turns 1 and 2. Otherwise, very tricky to get overtakes done. Qualifying going to be at a premium. Drivers on full throttle, only 57% of the lap, which is the lowest of the season. Your best overtaking opportunity, of course, turn 1 after the long pit straight DRS zone. A nice tight hairpin to get laid on the brakes for, with a second dose of DRS to help you finish the move down into turn 2. This long sweeping left-hander. It's not a heavy braking zone, but if you can get yourself even into attacking position after turn 1, that second dose of DRS will help you re-attack or open the gap. Soft, medium, and hard as usual. This time medium is about 0.7 of a second slower per lap. The hard's 1.4, so about 0.7 deltas between each ones this time around. Now, as far as lap life goes, the softs will give you about 11 laps of life. The medium's 20, the hard's 27, but as it usually is, the soft tires, while they can go 11 laps, hit their cliff after only about 3 or 4, and you really get some losses in performance. We'll take a look at the championship tables. Gali out in the lead on 115 points. Robin close behind on 109. We have sat down in third place on 100 points even. Chronicle is up now into 4th ahead of Spen in 5th. Zhao is in 6th ahead of our teammate Dog, who's in 7th. Bananarama and Pathaman round out P8 and 9. And Peter Ward in the other Red Bull makes their first appearance into the top 10, jumping up 4 spots, securing 20 points so far in the season as their rear gunner for Chronicle. So let's jump out to the circuit and take a look at our first qualifying runs. Should be dry pretty much the whole way through, and the DRS is open. Very high downforce levels around this track, so those who dare to reduce their wings may have the ability to overtake, but it makes the rest of the track very difficult. Waiting to open that DRS until we can get our foot fully down, otherwise the back end tries to step out. And here's that downhill sweeper that is turn 2. Try and get on the power. Right-hander flat out. And now shooting up this little right-hand kink. And then this lefty blind over the crest. So tricky to get right. And then a big old right-hand sweeper. Missed the apex by a mile on that one as you run speed around the outside. This little chicane at the top of the hill has these big sausage curves on the inside you want to avoid. And now the technical section. Flick it left. Try and get the car brake and slowed down for this right-hander. Open it up, full throttle for this lefty. Stay left, a little dab of the release of throttle. Sometimes dab a brake in the race, and now down at the bottom of the hill. Tight right-hander before you head to these 280-degree left-hand and a right-hand sweeper to finish off the lap. And this is where it gets really tough to try and set up your final attack in the race. This long right-hander is so aero-limited. It's very tough to get close behind another car, but DRS opens, cross the line, and we go first to a 17.365 for our first lap of the day. Gali pips that relatively quickly and takes over provisional pole. Now we're going to stay on board, not for now, next time. So, back on board, second flying lap as we are sitting now P3 provisionally. Spen has gone to the top of the timing towers after Gali had gone quicker than us. Peter Ward in 4th, Project Stealth in 5th. Now, we'll try and go for another run, see if we can find some areas to improve on. And it looks about even Stevens through turn 1 so far. Turn 2, put a little bit of a wheel on the outside curb, try and get it to rotate the car, but we've really kind of lost a bit of time, but we've gained it back. So still pretty much even through the first sector, only 0.03 of a second slower. Carrying a little bit more speed over the hill and a better line through this right-hander is going to net us a considerable amount of time as we head now to this chicane at the top of the hill. And now through the tricky bits. We're finding a fair chunk of time on this lap through. Nearly 0.4 found. We're going to get the tire temperature display up as you kind of want to keep an eye out on that back left tire through that high-speed right-hander. Purple in the middle sector, so no improvement in the first sector. We go fastest of anyone according to the timing sheet in the middle sector, but it's all about getting the end of the lap dialed. A little slow on exit of the penultimate corner. final corner, just trying to find the area to get the throttle down. We were a little bit too tight to the inside. We do find 3/10. We go to a 17.0. So we do take over fastest of the race, but there is still, or fastest of the session, there is still some time to be found out there on this one. And this is the one where we stay on board with, because something interesting happened on this this particular occasion. We're just past the halfway point of the qualifying session. We're just driving our in lap, keeping an eye on the track map, make sure we're not going to be in anybody's way. And as we come up this corner here, you can see my throttle locks, my steering holds, my wheel just completely froze and drove me straight into the wall. So that wasn't ideal. Not at all. Steering wheel totally froze up and into the barrier we went. So not able to set a final flying lap. We end up 4th, so middle of the pack, as Spen went to the 16.5, as Gali 16.8, and Chronicle 16.9. So on the circuit, we are everybody ahead of us on the hards, people behind us on the mediums. Away we go. Big wheel spin on the launch there. I have to kind of gather up a slide. We're going to go deep to the inside, not let Pathaman get inside position on us. We're just going to try and hold the very inside into turn 1, as we just kind of want to get a clean run through turn 1. And I know I have decent pace today in this situation. I just need to make sure that I don't get caught up in any nonsense. However, you can see, kind of much like Spain, Gali out in front, really kind of stretching the field already. And we're tucked in underneath Chronicle and a few of the other drivers that have medium tires. And just with everything so close, it's kind of tricky to get through. Pathaman not too quick through these corners, costing us a fair chunk of time. But you can see just how difficult it is to even try and pull alongside a car at this circuit, much less try and make an overtake stick in these sections. So it's very much follow the leader, and you can see that gap opening up between Pathaman and the car ahead, and that is just kind of making the day difficult, because the lead of this race, led by Gali, championship leader, is already starting to run away from the pack. He manages to take the lead away from Spen and is now leading this race. And we do, though, have, I believe, Robin behind us. Or no, was Robin not in? I don't think Robin was in this race. Robin was not in this race. So it was an opportunity for us to gain some time. But you can see now the field's starting to stretch out a little bit at the end of the first lap. And maybe a big snap of oversteer for Pathaman. Getting ready to come down the hill. Chronicle's going to be close enough to maybe make a lunge up the inside. Side by side, they're going to go. It's tracing out. I think Pathaman's just about going to hold that position. A little contact between the two, though, on that high-speed right-hander. And Chronicle well off the circuit. We're just kind of bracing for somebody to go spinning off and have a big crash. And now worried about Pathaman. Pathaman locks up into this tight right-hander. He's going to have the inside. And we're just going to have to kind of back out because he's deep in the chicane. He was going to run us pretty much completely off the track if we had stayed alongside him. So we just have to back out. Zhao has a moment, it looks like. I don't know if that was caused by us slowing down a lot, but just Pathaman was carrying so much speed into the first part of the chicane. There was no way he was going to leave a car's width at the second part of the chicane, so I just had to bail out. And you can see already he's locking up again just how much time this is costing me. And, you know, DRS not even available yet. So if he settles down on those medium tires, it's going to be very difficult for me to overtake him down the pit straight, because you can see how much more grip he has in that long iron. You can see Chronicle already 2.3 seconds out ahead. So I'm trying to think back to Spain and not get frustrated with what's going on at this point, but I can already see that at this stage, pretty much any good chance of a really good finish is gone. Just a couple of laps being held up by Pathaman, not able to get past him. And you can see the gap from Chronicle even all the way up to where Gali is. I mean, Gali's 2 corners ahead of us already on the 3rd lap. We run a bit wide there. So not ideal. But we are still, once again, another lap behind, another lap through the chicane, another lap behind Pathaman as somebody's taking out the marker boards on the outside. So Pathaman's struggling with the car. 2.3 the gap to Chronicle from us to them. But you can see just, you know, he gets it together enough in the right corners that makes my job, you know, impossible to overtake, which credit to him. He's doing what he needs to maintain his position. But at this point, I'm thinking, I mean, I'm on the hard tire, so I can't undercut and get out of the way. Gali's turning 21 ones, and we are out here doing 21 nines. So we're losing 0.8 of a second per lap even. And you can see, I think Pathman was running lower wings than we were as well, because he's just an absolute rocket on the straights. And he gets out of the corners pretty well, thanks to, I'm sure, a little bit of a dose of traction control. But assists are allowed. Can't bemoan anybody. It's a help. It's a help. But you can see we get such a good run in some of these higher downforce corners. But you know, where we need to make the overtakes down the pit straight, down to turn 2, we just don't quite have the grunt and the straight line to do it. I think we're just carrying a little bit too much wing. And that was, you know, that's a concern when you're at the start of a race, especially, you know, I set up high wings to try and qualify well. Car crashes out, not ideal, and now it's turning into a very difficult proposition to make an overtake stick. I was kind of hoping to just be quick and clean air, so to speak. Chronicles not quite running too fast away from us. I mean, Pathman does have medium tires on. He's not a slow car in a lot of, but you can see even with DRS open, just the amount of speed that he's got in a straight line. And you know, he's increasing the gap down the straights when we have DRS, which is kind of incredible. So he's very much doing the hang on for dear life in the downforce corners strategy. And it's making him impossible to overtake so far. So credit to that strategy. It does mean that he's falling further and further away from Chronicle thus far. But it's doing a very good job at frustrating me. But I'm trying to manage my cool and just not pull a Spain that I did earlier in the year, because that was big points that I left on the table significantly. And same with what was it, Jeddah, trying to be cheeky and burn fuel off and end up spinning out. So we're just trying to see if Pathman makes a little mistake in the penultimate corner or the final corner, we've got an opportunity to try and make a move happen on him. But otherwise, you know, unless the move is on, you know, the move's not on, and it's just not ideal. Gali fastest again, 21.0. We've been slower, so I think we're going to be in the 22s this time by 21.89. So this time we, though, did get a good run. DRS open, overtake on to the inside. We don't need to get the move fully done. We can leave him space around the outside. We do get this second dose of DRS as soon as we can get around the corner. And finally, we've got the move done. And we are ahead of Pathman, and now trying to look ahead to start reeling in Chronicle. Chronicle, though, does have his teammate Peter Ward up ahead of him, so I will estimate that Chronicle will be let through quite easily, and Peter Ward will fight me tooth and nail, as he's done so well this season as a teammate to Chronicle. A little bit of a mistake through the chicane there. That's going to cost me a little bit of time to Pathman. Might even put him back in DRS by the time we get there, because once you get one wrong foot around this, you know, middle sector, it's the whole sector is messed up. You're out of position for the next 4 corners if you get just one step wrong. So Pathman, I think I can just about, I don't know if I've got out of DRS from him. We're going to accelerate. It looks like we might just have had it. So I think we just about got out of DRS of Pathman. Chronicle 3.1 seconds ahead. We're sitting in the top 5. Now we do get the faster tire at the end. Peter Ward is going to have to switch on to those hard tires and be going a little bit slower. Of course, even though there's only 8 drivers on track to start this one, there is always the possibility of a safety car, which could mix things up significantly. And it is a track that can be kind of track limit bait, so to speak. So we will try and make sure that we are clean of track limits. But you can see your first lap in clean air after making it past Pathman, personal best in the first sector. So we are starting to make a little bit of ground, although Chronicle kind of matching our times so far. Still about 3.1, 3.2 seconds out ahead of us. And that definitely makes the job a bit difficult. But two personal best sectors, Sector 1 and Sector 2. We've now got nearly 2 seconds of margin on Pathaman, and that's where all that downforce in the second sector is just massive to have in clean air. You can make so much time on somebody on lower downforce. But we're going to jump ahead, lap 9 of 35, and somebody is in the barriers. Pathaman out of the session, so he is out. A virtual safety car is called, and it is upgraded to a full safety car relatively quickly. So it was a little early. The previous rate, we were looking to go long on the mediums, but we did see some people nearly get to the end on the medium tire earlier on, but we decided to stay out. So the medium tire would do about 20 laps or so. So we were still, you know, sitting at 25. It's a little early to go on the mediums. We're staying on the hard tires. Spen comes in, goes on to mediums. Peter Ward onto the hard, so he'll get to the end. This does give us the opportunity to close up to Gali and Chronicle now, though. So we have stayed out. So jumping ahead, Gali, Chronicle, myself all stayed out. Spen, Zhao all came in. So we get ready to restart this race. Gali gets a decent release from the corner. Spen's on a quick tire. I saw him get a good release. I wasn't going to bother fighting him hard down into turn 1. We're just taking the long way around the outside, and that kind of forces us onto the Astro as there's a bit of a kerfuffle behind. But, you know, we were expecting to lose that position anyway. I am thinking at this point that Spen, if he's trying to go and overtake us, he's going to burn through those medium tires. They're not going to get to the end of the race. He's going to have to make another pit stop before this race is done, as do we. So we're kind of even Stevens, but I didn't want to, you know, I didn't need to fight with him as he had a fresher, faster tire on. So my battle is with the other two guys up ahead of me, Gali and Spen. And luckily, after all that time being held up by Pathaman, and it was looking like there was going to be absolutely nothing I could do for the rest of the day, that safety car has kind of helped us out a little bit and has now put us into P4, nearly into the podium positions. Just kind of have to fight Chronicle, Gali, and Spen now, kind of on relatively equal terms. We are opening the gap to Zhao, so I don't think Peter Ward is going to come into play all that much by the end of this race. He's 5 seconds back of us now, so about 3.5 back of Zhao. You can see to the inside early goes Chronicle. Spen with that extra grip gets off the last corner really well, and he is going to move his way past Chronicle in this one. So with only 7 drivers left to go in this race, we're still looking at a potential podium position, which, you know, I would like to get more race wins. And oh, off the circuit, Gali into the wall. So Gali out of the session, a full crash out for Gali as he went into the right wall. And now I think with the way everything's bunched up, no, it is going to be another full safety car. So now I'm looking at about 20 laps to go. I haven't made my tire change. I saw in the Division 1 race some drivers that put on with 20 laps to go ran into punctures at the end. So I know that if I can focus on a little bit of tire saving, or a lot, I can avoid puncture territory. I just need to be quick. And I'm running in podium position. I've not had the outright speed in the opening stint that Chronicle had, and I should have really gone. I really should have gone for the Sebastian Vettel maneuver here. Chronicle was tiptoeing his way into the pit lane. I should have swung around him and gone for the brake marker line so far up there. I totally could have taken that position from him, but I wasn't. You know, I didn't want to risk anything stupid. So we are going to go ahead and slap on a set of medium tires. Chronicle's doing the same. And so I'm kind of counting on people to maybe not be as aware of how much tire saving needs to be done before the end. Zhao is onto a set of hards, so he'll have no problem getting the end. But Spen stayed out. Peter Ward stayed out, so Peter Ward is back into defensive position for his teammate. And we are down to just 6 runners. But, you know, podium is still podium. 15 points for P3 is still good. And it looks like Spen just waiting to get us restarted. A pretty slow run. And there, out of the corner we go. We get a good launch away from Zhao that time. Not under heavy attack just yet. So we're going to just grab a little bit of the slipstream, use some battery, and we should be safely on the brakes into turn 1. But spearing up the inside is Project Stealth. Just overcooked it, sent it right down the inside and collects us. So now we've got a lot of work to do to try and catch up to now Peter Ward and Chronicle. And well, we're down into 4th. So podium position off now at this point. And you know, the first safety car really helped me out. Project Stealth just absolutely missed his braking point trying to fight with Zhao and caught me just right on the apex of T1, spun me around. So now got a 6-second margin, and in a situation where I need to try and save my tires, which is, you know, annoying because I want to try and make this gap and you know, Peter Ward let Chronicle through almost immediately, which is expected. You know, good team play. He's just immediately let Chronicle straight through. But now I've got to try and push, but not push. It was a weird situation because I still had a long way to go in this race. Still had to make sure that these medium tires got to the end. Peter Ward had no such worries on his hard tires. He could go to the end of the race with no worries. Spen and Chronicle trading fastest laps already. And so with the rate that they're going, and just checking to make sure I'm not damaged, the rate that they were going, I was just kind of trying to now at this stage gradually reel Peter Ward in. We, you know, still have, what was that, like 12 laps left to go? No, like 17 laps left to go. So still a long way to go in this race. We're barely beyond halfway point. So I'm just trying to eke out the tires, take a couple tenths at a time out of Peter Ward. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. As Project Stealth retires in the pit lane, he was pretty upset about that mistake. He'd been kind of driving as a reserve, hadn't been around for a while, comes back to a race and makes a big mistake. You know, he felt bad. So I kind of wish he had continued on and collected some points. Mistakes happen. It's a bummer. I've made a few mistakes this season. I seem to have been on the receiving end of a mistake on like tons of races already, though. But it is what it is. But you can see we've got Peter Ward now down to 3.2 seconds. We're still, I mean, Chronicle and Spen are going at it. We're lapping about 0.3 of a second slower per lap than them. But let's jump ahead. Lap 21 of 35. We have gradually reeled ourselves in to Peter Ward. Chronicle and Spen are 7 seconds up the road from us, so a long way to go. Spen into the pit lane is going to have a fresh set of medium tires to really kind of re-attack us with. So I'm not expecting, even though he's going to come out, he's going to have, 13 laps to catch me. Basically what I did to Peter Ward, he's going to try and do to me. And it looks like the gap is going to be, what's it going to be? About 12 seconds or so by the time, or 10 seconds by the time he's going. So, yeah, I feel like he can probably take a second a lap out of me, especially with the way that I'm tire saving. He can go full ham. I've got a tire save. Peter Ward's well off the circuit there. But now Peter Ward's just going to do what he can to keep me from getting past him. And that's also going to hurt my chances of holding up Spen as well, because Peter Ward, even though it's an 8-second gap to Chronicle, he has made it his mission to make sure that Chronicle has the best chances possible, score as many points as possible, and it's a fantastic teammate mentality to have. but he makes himself very difficult to overtake. And the time that I'm going to lose fighting him is Spen's just going to have no problem rocking up to the back of us. So I'm fully expecting that, especially at this stage. I thought maybe if I could get past Peter Ward, really quickly, I might have a chance to hold Spen off. So you can see I'm dumping a lot of battery that time. Just not going to be close enough to really make any kind of move. Trying to go for kind of the up and under as we get on the throttle. He's kind of planted it on the apex, which was well played. He's going to make me go the long way around the outside. I'm going to try and use some grip around the outside. He's got the nose ahead, so he can kind of squeeze. I'm just going to try and leave him some space. He's off the circuit, but he manages to keep his nose ahead. And just like that, he has maintained that position. And so now you can see just how many times I'm lifting and going slow. I mean, he's already lost a second to Chronicle. I've lost 2.6 seconds to Spen. And so, this is where I'm thinking, all right, third is the best it's going to be, because there's just no way that I'm catching Chronicle with the way that Peter Ward is battling. And Spen is just going to rock up and pass us both with fresh medium tires. So it's what I really needed to get that move done, but I also, was trying really hard to leave space for him on that, and that right-hander down at the bottom of the hill is just so tricky. So, just trying to make sure that both of us survive it and be a safer driver. Like I've said, not really going for anything that's a dangerous move. This time I've got quite a bit of momentum. I'm going to take the outside line this time, go well around the outside just so I can straighten line my exit, get some good momentum, open up that DRS, and now we've cleared it. But you can see Spen reduce the gap from 10.6 seconds to 5.9 in 3 laps. So he is absolutely flying on those medium tires. He has the fastest lap of the race, unsurprisingly, and we had to burn a lot of battery to do it as well. So I'm starting to put a little bit of extra pressure through the tires this lap just to see if I can open up the gap to Peter Ward. The one thing I don't want from him is to be in my DRS again and be re-attacking me into turn 1. If I can get him out of attacking range, that's kind of all that I need. And Spen will eventually clear him and then rock up to me. I mean, Spen's taking almost 2 seconds a lap out. I need to keep Spen at bay to the tune of half a second per lap at this point. And I just don't think the margin between his quicker pace today and the tire situation that we're in was going to make a difference. So we do manage to grab that 1 second margin to Peter Ward, though, as we come out through the final corners at the DRS detection point. So Peter Ward, no more DRS from him. And you can see our tires taking a quick look. Jumping ahead now, lap 28 of 35. Spen looking to the inside. We're going to go kind of leave the apex for him. A half-hearted defense. He's going to have the DRS. We're just going to stay to the outside and kind of leave the door wide open for him. And it wasn't a move that I was ever really going to fight. I mean, he took 5 seconds out of me in 3 laps. And passed Peter Ward while he did it. So he's on an absolute tear. His battery is running low. He's burned a lot of it. But you can see just how much more grip those fresh mediums have. And that is kind of the story of where this race was going to end up. Chronicle was slowly eking out a little bit more of a gap to me. 11.7 seconds now, the margin. I was almost, at this point, I was kind of hoping that the speed that he was pushing was going to wear out his tires. But jumping ahead, lap 33 of 35, Peter Ward dives into the pit lane. So I was keeping an eye on. I knew I wasn't going to catch Spen. And unless Chronicle has like a massive blowout, there's no way I'm taking a position off of him either. So I was keeping an eye on Peter Ward. Peter Ward comes in for the soft compound tires, but he's done it 1 lap too early. So now I've got a set of, by the blessing of crashing out in qualifying after on the in-lap from my second run, I still had a fresh set of soft tires available to me, completely new and unused. And now Peter Ward has come in 1 lap too early to try and go for the fast lap of the race. And I was sitting there charging my battery for the previous 6 laps. So you can see now it's up to about 80% nearly full. Because I wasn't really going to catch Spen. You can see he's 8.2 seconds up the road, has just tremendous speed. does have the fastest lap, but what we're seeing now is Peter Ward's in, so I now have a free pit stop behind me. And we'll have the opportunity to put on a set of soft tires and go for fastest lap on the last lap of the race. So into the pit lane we go. Try and not pick up a 5-second time penalty. And make sure that we got plenty of daylight by the time that we come out in front of Peter Ward. It's going to take a little bit of effort to warm those tires into window, but we should come out relatively safely. We're the last pit box by virtue of being Williams, so we're pretty close to the pit exit. And you can see he's just coming through the penultimate corner by the time we are on the track. So out of the pit lane we go, nice and gingerly. And now it's time to get these soft tires fired up to temperature for one final go. And of course that trundle down the pit lane also now means we have 100% of our battery available to us. So we're just going to try and honestly take kind of not a super fast lap, because I don't want the tires to be super hot by the time we start the flying lap. I'm actually kind of doing a prep lap at this pace, not really pushing at all just yet. Just making sure they get all the way into the temperature window, which they've just crested the 80 degrees Celsius mark. We want to get them up towards 90 on the core temperatures. Not the surface temperatures will spike and fall as the lap goes on. But you see Peter Ward probably going for the gold for this lap, but I don't think he'll quite have the pace. You're in the mid 80s core temperature wise, so now we take a very wide entry so we can square off the exit and basically go full quali mode. So ERS is on full deployment, and down into turn 1 we go. Switch it off just before the braking zone. Make sure we don't make any mistakes or crashes. Peter Ward doesn't even set the fastest lap of the race on that. He might have been trying to go for the second lap fastest. I'm not sure. I didn't check his race director, but here we go. Coming through sector 1. Battery at full chat. Purple in the first sector. Just making sure to stay within track limits. Not pick up any time penalties or invalidate any laps accidentally. And now we can really press on. But you can see Chronicle already coming around the final corner to take the race win. So a good result for him at this stage of the season. Peter Ward did a fantastic job as a rear gunner today in this one. Really held up quite a few people. Spen managed to close the gap a bit. We've gone purple in the first 2 sectors, so should be relatively academic to finish it off. My natural pace was a little higher than what Peter Ward had, so I wasn't too worried about him stealing it out from under me. I felt I had turned in a really good final lap. ERS deployed, and we go down into the 1 minute 18s on that final lap to take the fastest lap point of the race. So on to the podium we go. It is a race win for Chronicle, second for Spenwolf. Big change in championship order though, with Gali crashing out. We were 15 points behind him at the start of today, and by picking up 15 points for P3 plus the fastest lap bonus point, it does indeed net us a 1-point championship lead through 9 rounds. So after a pretty shocking start to the season, we have ended a week at the top of the championship charts. But thank you all for joining me once again. Here is the final finishing order. Chronicle Spen, ourselves, Peter Ward in 4th, Zhao in 5th, Stealth, Gali, and Pathaman, your retirements. But I will catch you guys next time. Y'all take it easy. Peace.